Yo, what is up YouTube? It's Spade, and today I'm bringing another step-by-step rotation guide for y'all. This time it's with Camellya and Phrolova, a very interesting team because this team was not mentioned in Phrolova guides, which I completely understand because the way Phrolova's teams work is that Phrolova provides buffs for Roccia, and then Roccia buffs Concerto, and the Concerto buffs Phrolova. They all provide buffs for each other. The way Camellya works is that she doesn't. That's about it. Her only contribution is damage, which I completely understand, but I do wish that this team was mentioned because it absolutely works. You know, it's not the best team for Camellya, it's not the best team for Phrolova, but they can work. And I cleared with like 1 minute and 12 seconds, which I think is a very decent clear time considering the team that we're dealing with being anti-synergistic. The only content creator that I saw mention this team was Sweetly. So a bit of a disclaimer is that my Camellya is S1 and she has a signature and she is amazingly built. My Phrolova, however, does not have her signature and some of her traces aren't even unlocked because of weekly boss. And then we have Roccia as well, does not have her signature. I forgot to mention Phrolova is using Yinlin's signature. Roccia is using the 5-star standard weapon. And then some of her echoes are missing crit stats, like there's no crit substats at all. So I can see this team performing really well in like 1 minute or less if all of them had their signatures and all of them were decently built. So with that out of the way, I will let the entire run of this floor play out and then I will do a step-by-step breakdown afterwards. Obviously I'll put timestamps so y'all can skip through it, so let's get on with it. Alright, so that is the run. Again, cleared in 1 minute and 12 seconds. So now let's do the breakdown of what I was doing. Alright, so something I want y'all to know is that this is entirely situational. You're not gonna get the perfect rotations all the time because of how the enemy is gonna hit you and then you're gonna have to react to it. So as far as, you know, me practicing this is as close as I can get to a perfect rotation with this team. So it's gonna look different for everybody. All you have to do is just keep on practicing. So okay, we start off with Camellya. The reason why we want to start off with Camellya is so that we can press her skill and put her in her blossom state. You notice her hair turns red, so that's when you know she's in her blossom state. Right there, her hair is red. So after that, you want to switch into Phrolova. Now, this is what I was mentioning earlier about this thing being situational. Because Dirge was gonna hit me, I dodged, and because I dodged, I was able to access Phrolova's enhanced basic attack and her enhanced skill. Now, I'm not sure if this is in her kit. It probably is when you dodge, because every time I practice this, I would get the enhanced basic attack and skill whenever I would dodge. So safe to assume that when you dodge, it does that. So I did her basic attack right here. And then I pressed her skill. And afterwards, I did her enhanced basic attack right there. And then I did her echo. And then I performed her basic attack string 1, 2, 3. Which, you know, to be honest, your notes, the color of your notes don't really matter as long as you get 6 of them. Because while they do provide different buffs and the red ones and combined ones provide a bit more damage bonus to Phrolova, it's not going to make such a big difference. So don't worry too much about it. Again, like I said, it's entirely situational depending on what the enemy is doing. But as much as possible, if you want to min-max, try to aim for more red notes and a combined note. So we did that. We did her echo skill. We did her basic attack 1, 2, and 3. So now we have access to her basic attack, which I did. And because we started off with one note, normally you would start off with her basic attack 1, 2, 3, and then do her enhanced basic attack. That's the normal rotation that you would do, which would give you 2 notes. But because we started off with the dodge, that gave us 1 note. That's why we have only 1 note missing. So I could have, to be honest, I could have done her skill right here. Never mind, I couldn't. Anyway, scratch that. So I just did her basic attack 1, 2, and 3. Which gave me the final note that I need, and then I heavy attacked. And then I immediately pressed R to put Phrolova in her alt state. So now that she's in her alt, you can switch to Roccia. Now, I want y'all to pay attention to this bar right here. This is Roccia's Forte bar, and you can see there are 3 slots here. You want to make sure you have all 3. So her intro skill provides 1. And then because you introed Roccia in, she's able to access her basic attack 4 or 3. Basically her last basic attack, which provides another bar. And then because you have 2 already, her skill provides another 1. So you're able to fill it up after you press the skill. And because you have all of the 3 bars ready, you do 3 big booms, right? The reason why you do this is because each bar gives Roccia a lot of Concerto energy right here. You can see how it provided a lot. So you want to do that so you can quickly get to Camellya. Now that Roccia's Concerto energy is almost filled up, you want to do her alt, which will provide Camellya with some attack based on Roccia's crit after 50%. So this gives Camellya some extra attack, or the entire team, but because Camellya is coming in next, it just provides Camellya. And you also want to do her echo skill, Roccia's echo skill. The reason why you want to do this is because Phrolova has a passive that allows her to get buffs depending on her teammates activating or performing a echo skill. Now what echo skills are is your Qs, right? Your echoes. But with Roccia, you'll see in a bit when I switch to Camellya. Camellya has another echo skill right here, which is the utility that Roccia provides, which is her box. This counts as an echo skill, and then Camellya also has her own echo skill. Every character has their own. So now we provided Phrolova with 3 stacks of after sound. That's the name of the buff. Now I forgot to mention earlier, when you put Phrolova in her alt form, in her alt state, she is able to have 2 stacks. And when she just enters the field, she has 10 stacks. Not enters the field, sorry, like enters battle. You don't need Phrolova to enter the field. So when you enter battle, Phrolova will gain 10 stacks. And then when you put her in her alt, she gains 2 stacks. And then because Roccia has 1, we get another stack. And then because Camellya has 2 echo skills at this moment, you get another 2. So in total, Phrolova has 15 stacks of after sound, which provides her with a little bit more crit damage. Well, not a little bit, a lot of crit damage. So you make sure you want to do that in the first rotation. So now I did her echo skill here. I did another echo skill here. Now, the only problem that I found with this echo skill is because it shoots you upward and then you fall back down, which makes you unable to perform any attack. So I guess at this point you can kind of do her ultimate. But I decided to do her basic attacks. You can just hold it, to be honest. You know, she'll just Beyblade around just by holding the basic attack. I dodged here and then I just use her ult. Again, as I said earlier, entirely situational depending on what the enemy is doing. So you want to make sure you build Camellya's Concerto energy, not only to switch back into Phrolova, but because this will unlock Camellya's ephemeral state, which will enhance her skill. As you can see here, it glows purple, and then you just want to click that, which will give you like a big boom. There, you can see it gave 192k. So after that, I didn't want to switch to Phrolova yet because, as you can see here, she still has one more note left. This is how you can keep track if Phrolova's available to enter a battle without missing any damage. So I decided to just continue the basic attack. And then I'm not sure if Camellya was able to perform her last hit, which provides a decent amount of damage. So I'm not sure if she did. But after you're done with that, you can switch into Phrolova, which will give you, a bit more damage as well. And then just perform her notes, her basic attack, or your skills. I just kind of did whatever, to be honest with y'all. I wasn't really paying attention, but just to let you guys know, whenever you intro Phrolova back in, she'll get a combined note. So now that I have 6 notes, I just did her heavy attack and then I went into her ult. And then you just basically repeat the same rotation with Roccia and Camellya. The only thing I would say is that after you ult right here, as you can see, I did her echo skill. You don't have to do her echo skill because you're not going to go back to Phrolova anymore. You're going to end the rotation with Camellya. So this is unnecessary and it probably could shave off a second, to be honest, if you want to min-max. So you don't need to do that. You can immediately switch to Camellya right after Roccia's ult. So we switch into Camellya, just do her basic attack. That's it. And then because her Concerto is filled up already, I did her enhanced skill. And then, it unlocked her ultimate with this amount of time. I just did it and we end off the rotation there. Yeah, that's about it. Now, any closing thoughts? As I said earlier, this team can absolutely work and it definitely can perform well if you play it perfectly. And if your characters, if your Camellya, Phrolova, and Roccia are well built and hopefully have their signatures, I can see this team performing at 1 minute or less, which is honestly really good for a team that doesn't synergize well with each other too much. But yeah, this is a fun team to experiment with. I'd love for y'all to try it out. I hope that I was able to break it down for y'all properly and so that y'all can understand why you're doing certain things and doing them at certain times. But yeah, this is far from perfect. I can definitely see people performing this team like way better than I did. But yeah, that's about it. And I hope y'all enjoyed the video. I'd appreciate it if you guys could like and subscribe. And yeah, thank you for watching and look at the builds. All right, take care.